Hey, what's up, everybody? Lawler here, going to be doing a tier list for European rosters today. We did North America yesterday, and I haven't seen your guys' responses to it yet because I am in the future right now, and this is going to come out for Saturday. So we're curious to see on what you guys think, feel. Let me know what your own roster lists and all that kind of stuff are down below. But with that said, let's rate some of these teams. Everybody gonna be rating some teams today for European RLCS rosters. I think I've got like 20, 21-ish, somewhere about the same as North America, trying to keep it somewhat similar. And before we get into that, just like yesterday, there's another sponsor for this video. It's me. I'm the sponsor. Please hit the subscribe button. It would be appreciated. All right, jokes aside, let's actually get into some of these rosters. Hopefully we don't have to take a bunch of minutes to do this. I'm gonna try to rifle through these a little bit quicker. Yesterday, if you guys didn't know who's on what roster and stuff, go back and check out those. We put those out the last 2 days. But up first, we got 00 Nation. This is the former Northern team. And then they acquired Breezy and Hibbs from Singularity and brought in Flame from Top Lokes. I don't think we've seen them play. They've done nice cactuses and Intel World Opens, but as of this moment, I have not seen this play against other RLCS teams at full strength. So we're going to start this off with need more results. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to look like. I legitimately have no idea, and I'm not going to waste anybody's time on it because even if I look up the Wikipedia page, it's just not anything recent or anything outside of like regional based teams. Decent potential, I think, but we'll have to wait and see. Next, Team BDS, S tier. It's Team BDS. They're the most dominant team. The only thing that holds them back, in my opinion, is the fact that they don't have LAN experience. We saw the pressure get to them a little bit in the regional championships last season at the tail end where they lost to Vitality. But despite that, they still put up a really good fight after the mistakes from the first series ended up going away. BDS is a team that people should be fearful. Not initially, I would say. Like, when they go to Stockholm, Sweden, I'm going to have some reservations and be like, well, they've never played at this stage on LAN. But either has anybody else in 2 years, so maybe it'll even it a little bit. But I don't know if we're going to have, Monkey Moon be a LAN player or not. Maybe he doesn't like the pressure. Like, again, I just don't know how that's going to apply. Still, with that said, they qualified for LAN before the last split even occurred. It's BDS. You don't really need me to say much. Up next, BS Plus Competition. This team has always had a solid playstyle, but now they're getting rid of their cracked Young Gun and a Chronic, and they're bringing in Reziers. Godsmill, I still think is pretty solid on defense. Freaky's teams are always pretty consistent, and they're tough to score on. How much of that is going to change right now? I'm a little bit of reservations for BS Plus. I could see them possibly being like a B. Like, they're going to be a team I think that'll be in conversation for like top 10 for sure. Just a matter of I do not see them ever getting to like top 4 on a consistent level as of right now. Maybe Reziers completely changes my mind on that, but even last season we didn't really get much of that. So I think they're going to be kind of in that, like I mentioned in North America, like that gatekeeper spot where good team, really solid team, frustrating to play against, and are going to get definitely some upsets if you want to call it that, but I don't see them beating or breaking into the top. Up next, Dignitas. I'm a huge fan of this team, and I do think this team has like a ton of potential, but we've only seen it at WePlay. Right now, no coach, which they are trying to identify the roles that they each want to play. They're trying to figure each other out, which I'm actually open to. But it's Scrub Killer Jorias and Jack, and they look incredible. They were a 1-game, 1-goal difference between beating K-Corp and moving to the grand finals and not. Went to 7. This team's got a ton of potential. It's probably one of my favorite teams actually going into the next season. They look absolutely incredible. I really, really like this roster. I could possibly put them up here. I really could. If they keep playing the way that they are, the only thing that docks them is I just need to see it more than once. And I say that to a lot of teams. I said that about DVS and Integrity. Like, by all means, the potential's there. The teams are good. But I need you to do it again. And the main event, which hasn't happened yet, even though this is a video for Saturday, the main event hasn't happened yet. And I need to see how they compete against the top dogs. If they continue to show it over the course of 2 weeks, it's like, all right, I give you some, but I need to see it in Regional 2 as well. So same thing kind of applies to Dignitas. I just need to see it not be just a one-time thing. Play at that caliber week in and week out. Yeah, we'll bump you up. Up next is Endpoint. Endpoint CEX, I think is what they go by now. Yeah, Endpoint CEX. They ended up getting rid of Virtuoso and bringing in Psycho. So it is Relating Wave, Metzenaris, and Psycho. I think Psycho is going to help quite a bit up front and provide a little bit more consistency, which should help out Metzenaris. Relating Wave, I think, is pretty underrated as a defender and just someone who can kind of circumvent the midfield. Ultimately, though, I still think this team is going to be on like a low B, high C area, and I'm going to put them there for now just to see who else kind of filters in. I don't know how to feel about them because I haven't seen enough with Psycho, and I don't know if it's going to be enough to push them over the edge. This team interests me because it is a different vibe from Virtuoso. You're going to see, I think, more of a three-person play style rather than Virtuoso going and demoing people. And maybe that will make less pressure on certain players, and you're going to see a little bit more consistency. Possible low B, but I don't know yet. I don't know yet with Endpoint. Based upon what I think is going to happen, though, I'll put him at a C. Up next, Evil Geniuses, and this one is interesting. So for those that don't know, Evil Geniuses is now back in the RLCS. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, go do so. They have picked up the former German Amigo squad, which is Catalysm, Ivan, and Rizex. So to put in perspective of this and the reason why I've said what I said about this team, since July, they have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like 11 tournaments straight. Although that's impressive, and although I think that's a pretty big deal, I want to go and look at some of the teams they're playing, and it's not BDS. It's basically none of the teams that went to WePlay. They're not playing BDS. They're not playing Guild. They're not playing K-Corp. They're not playing Vitality. They're not playing the top teams. They're not playing the top dogs, the teams that I consider ones that will make top 6 almost every single time. And by all means, because of that, I'm going to put them at B because I think they will most definitely be competitive. I think they are 100% a team that has a lot of talent. I think Catalysm and Ivan are both extremely underrated. Rizex has his moments, but sometimes there's some consistency things from what I've seen. It seems like those things have been kind of fixed based upon like the VODs and stuff that I've watched. But again, it is against teams. Every once in a while, they'll beat a pretty solid team. Like they'll beat an SK Gaming and stuff. But again, I need to see it against the top dogs, and I need to see a consistency. By all means, I think they're good. By all means, I think they have potential, but I need to see it against your top dogs, your top 6, your top 5. People that are going to make it into the quarterfinals, semifinals, like every single time without doubt in my mind. Up next is FC Barcelona. This team is the former White Demon squad. For those that do not know, that is Dorito, CRR, and Thamway coming over from the OG Vodafone Giants team. That is now Team Queso. I don't know. I honestly don't know. White Demons and now EG were kind of in the conversation of like who's going to get them picked up soonest, who's going to be the first ones to kind of take that lead in that jump. And they actually got picked up first. Barcelona was announced first, and then Evil Geniuses second. Obviously, Evil Geniuses being a little bit more notable when it comes to esports. Obviously, they've been around since like 1999. They're one of the OGs. Barcelona has had some ups and downs with their rosters and financial situations, but this White Demons team, to me, is one that is going to be kind of that gatekeeper situation as well. I do think they have potential to jump ahead. We've seen what these rosters or that Spanish bim bam style can be. This team has also shown when they were Vodafone Giants and they were grinding and things were going well, they were a top 3 team. And because of that, I want to give them the potential to be in the B, possibly A category. But I just need to see it. We haven't really seen anything from them, I will say, in the like grand scheme of things. I will say there's this one tournament that had K-Corp, Vitality, Queso, and Barcelona in it. And K-Corp and Vitality were the first ones out, which is pretty surprising. And that's why I have them here. I want to see them do it again. If anything, it's more concern about what the tournament was and how it played out. But there was like a French tournament that went down. I can't pronounce it. It's OCCITANIE Esports. That was done in partnership with ESL. And it was like a B tier tournament for like 4,000 euros. It was actually pretty sick. It was a really good tournament. But I think this team definitely has the potential to, if anything, move up. The way I look at it is Thamway was on the original squad for Vodafone Giants when it was Steak and Itachi. And that team obviously showed success. You're now bringing in with CRR and Dorito, who are also still extremely talented. Like they're both in that same conversation. And I just want to see them elevate past it. All players have kind of been in that position to play upset team and have shown that they can make top 8, but can they do it consistently? That's where B is in my mind if you didn't see yesterday's videos. Basically, these are teams that are going to be fighting for spots 7, 8 to 12. Can you make consistent quarterfinal results in brackets? That's where I view these teams are. Up next, we're going to Guild. Again, another team I wish I had more results of, and that applies to all these teams in the offseason because we really only had WePlay. But Guild, actually, I'm a little worried about because I've seen initially, and I do have expectations that they'll be able to adapt and overcome, but they've shown that they can play the defensive game and play smart and make other teams make mistakes. But when another team is playing on aggressive in their face, they don't really be able to stand up to it, which I think is partial because although I like the Devo Bluey kind of situation, it doesn't feel like it's enough. And I feel like they're going to get overshadowed. I think there's a couple of these other teams that are a step above, but I do think Guild will be competitive. They're the type of team that I think will be like, yeah, of course, they're going to probably make top 8, but then they'll go up against like a Barcelona or an EG and Barcelona will win, 1 out of every 2-3 games. So I think Guild has potential to show more because it is a pretty new addition to the Bluey situation in competitive play, but I do think it will only get better. Up next, K Corp. This team, as long as they stay positive and keep doing their thing, talking with multiple players that we play about their mentality about doing better and more team plays and everything else. I think it's one of the best parts about them bringing in Astro. For those that don't know, this is the former Itachi and Stake from Giants, now with Astral from Solary. And this team's pretty cracked. Really good. A lot of potential. Everybody's super solid. As long as they keep up the mentality of how can we pass, how can we continue to play as a team more and more, and they keep themselves positive mentality-wise, this team has potential to be like in the contention for top 2, top 3. I think they legitimately have a chance to bump down Vitality or BDS as the constant 1-2 every single time. It's going to be competitive, and I absolutely love this team. Up next, Rix.GG. We still don't have an official team for this, but as of right now, it is Mike Boy, Asalan, and Speed is assumed. JG7 as coach. I have some concerns about this team. I don't even know, even when they were full strength, that they were doing all that great. They had Cash previously, who I think is really good too. And when I look at Cash and compared to Speed, I'd probably give Cash the nod right now. So to me, I don't have a lot of confidence in Rix.GG. I think you might even be able to pull them into F at times. I do know they're working really hard based upon what JG and stuff has been saying, and results-wise, they've been able to step above a couple teams. But primarily, I do have some concerns in how they're going to get over that hurdle of into the consistent top 8. I do not see this team being a consistent top 8 contender as of right now. A lot of talent on the team. I don't know if it's too much of the same or what's going on, but maybe they'll be able to figure it out. Maybe getting to play against some of these top rosters, they'll kind of take some things from replay analysis and be like, yo, we should implement these things. And then they can put in the final pieces that they're missing. So as of right now, Rix, I'm not too confident on, but again, they could always surprise. They have in the past. All right, up next is a team I can never pronounce. It's the French one.
Les Coquilles.
It's Econ, Exotic, and Melishishu. We haven't seen these guys since August in the Community Open, where they did okay, I guess. The close quals they crushed, and then when they got into the actual competition, it did not go well. They got removed 0-2 and lost to teams that are significantly better than them. Although I think they have potential, I need more results against high-profile teams before I can even consider them throwing in top. I think they are not as good, but I do know the players on that team as talented players. So it could just be that they need to get some more reps or better practice. But as of right now, it's not looking too solid. That could easily change. With Europe, there's plenty of depth, and the French, so they're automatically goated. That's just kind of how it works. So a lot of potential, a lot of depth in that country in general. But as of right now, I haven't really seen it. This is the former Train Hard team, if I remember correctly, before Train Hard disbanded due to financial stuff with COVID. Up next, SK Gaming. I'm actually pretty keen on SK Gaming. I think this team's really fun. I think potential-wise, they've shown that they can break top 8. Right now, I would probably put them in the middle, just because I haven't seen enough of them. We only really got them in the spring split. So still some question marks around them, but overall, I think potential-wise, just what they have is actually pretty solid. Seems like the team is, for the most part, in pretty good mentality, and from what we saw with them playing in the same area, it went pretty well. Also, Snasky, for the first time, is playing on a successful team. He's not thrown into kind of like the worst possible scenario, and then they expect him to just make it better. This is going to be kind of the true litmus test, I think, and SK Gaming, potentially, I think, is one of my biggest underdog teams. I think they look really good. I think they have a ton of potential. It'd be interesting to see how they play. I think there is some clear favorites, as you're going to see by the end of this list, in Europe, and then there's like a bunch right in the middle, and they're all going to fight for like 7-8 spot, and that, you're going to see that here in a sec. Up next, I got Solary. This was what used to be Farashazad. Astro completely disbanded. Solary's like, we'll be back, don't worry. And then they pick up Discombobulators, which is Virtuoso, Kasai, and Parka. I have not seen them play. I do not know. I'm going to put them right now in the need more results /F. I could possibly put them in C because I do think as a team they'll be competitive. I think they've got 2 Frenches and a guy who demos a lot. So like the Virtuo go murder people and then let the other 2 do crazy mechanic stuff. Ultimately, I just don't know enough. I really don't know. I want to put them probably like a high C maybe, but I'm going to put them in F now just because I need to know more. I just genuinely don't know. I'm not going to try to assume certain things as compared to some other teams, but as of right now, like I just genuinely do not know about what we're going to get out of Solary. Up next, Team Liquid. You lose some stuff, but then you bring in some really good stuff. Speed Fruity no more. You're bringing in a Chronic and Xperi from BS Plus, and then you went and brought in Flakes. Ronicky, I think, again, is a pretty solid like wildcard player. He kind of just fills in where you need him to. Chronic's gonna be really good on offense. Flakes should lock down the defense. The only issue is Flakes has a certain style of play that he really wants, and I don't think that is the ideal style of play for professional teams. In ranked, it's great for crushing randoms, but although it creates a good foundation and should provide them a little bit of time, I am nervous about this team if they go up against really aggressive play styles. I don't know if they're going to be able to handle it. With that said, I have seen some scrims and things have not gone well for Team Liquid. I've seen some scrims where things have gone well for Team Liquid. Another team that I need more of, but I just haven't seen enough of this roster personally. If I was to give them rating, at most I would give them a C, but I'm going to put them as well in the I need more. I need more. There is a lot of question marks around them, and they make me nervous, and not in a good way. So if I had to put them, if there was a D category, that's where I would put them if I had to, but I just do not know. I think they will be fighting for some of these, and then they may be able to surprise and get up into these as well. So I think some of that talent on that team is too good not to be in a team fighting for top 8. So as of right now, I just need to see more. Up next, Vitality. Vitality S tier. I think this is probably the best team in Europe if we were to go to LAN right now. You give these guys something to play for, which they now have $6 million prize pool more than ever. And they are probably one of the best teams in LAN experiences, period. Team's too talented. They've got the GOAT, or one of the GOATs, if you want to call him that. One of the only players that you can actually consider. You've also got Fairy Peak, still super underrated, even though people know how good he is. And then you also have Alpha, who doesn't miss a flip reset ever. It's Vitality. Duh. You always consider them to be a top contender, someone who should find themselves in a grand final in every single event. It's Vitality. I think we're finally going to see how good Vitality truly is with this roster, with COVID out of the way, and we get to Stockholm, Sweden. Stockholm, Sweden is going to be absolutely insane, and Vitality 1000% should be there. Vodafone Giants. This is the former Team Queso roster. So you got Atomic, Demensa, and VK Salen staying together. Team Queso with the Spanish Bim Bam patented play style. Although very aggressive and very good, teams I think are starting to get a little bit more used to it, and I want to dock them a little bit. I still think they'll be a team that fights, in for a top 8 spot. I think they'll always be in those qualifier matches, and then even sometimes pulling into semifinals and maybe a grand final every once in a while. Different branding, but it's still Team Queso, still a really good team. The other Team Queso roster, which actually I think we can talk about the new edition of them right now and kind of skip ahead in the tier list, just played out of their mind. Magnolia, Joyo, Vatira, and Rise played stupid good in that one tournament I was talking about, the French one with K-Corp and Barcelona. And they swept Vitality, which, take that for what you will. It was 4-1, 2-1 OT, and then 3-1. And then they go and they 4-1 Barcelona, and it was pretty nasty. This team seems to be vibing really well. I will put them at the high end of B. Again, off-season tournaments, RLCS is a different beast. I will always say that. There's different pressures, there's different stuff on the line, and I think the best part about the next version of RLCS was Swiss for EU. I really like Swiss format simply because it does have 3 losses or 3 wins. You pretty much almost always get the best teams moving forward. The ability to adapt and kind of overcome on a quick level. So I think Team Queso, like this team, if they start crushing through that and doing well in that and showing kind of that merit with multiple matches, that's when I'll start to get more confident. But as of right now, I think towards kind of the top. These two might be able to bump into like a low A, but they're definitely at a higher B for me. I still want to see more from them, but from what I've seen, you talk about kind of like the eye test where you just watch them and you're like, okay, I like it. They definitely pass. So I'm excited for that. Up next, Williams Resolve. This is Sazin, Prime, and Redosin. This is the former Atlantide Wave. And again, they go back into the top 8 potential. Don't know if they're going to find themselves in semifinals. I think they just get outclassed by some of the teams at the top. And the difficulty for me there is when I see this roster, I know that they play upset. I know that they can be top 8. I know that they have the potential to be in the conversation always when it comes to that, just like everybody else in B. The frustration I think that has most is I want to see them do it over higher profile teams on a regular basis. Even looking back at the results that they have and the teams that they're losing to, I want to see them start to separate themselves from teams like White Demons, Singularity, etc. Because anytime you have them playing against teams, even like Team Liquid, like these are the teams that when it was Speed, Fruity, and Ronicky, like you should have been convincingly winning those matches, and you're not. Sometimes you're losing them. So I need to see them create that separation, and that's why I have them lower, because I do know that there's potential for this team, and I actually really like Atlantide Wave. They kind of fly under the radar, but I need to see it kind of go to the other side. Like, to me, they kind of teeter in this area, or more so like in this area, where it's in between BC, and I think they're a solid B team. I really do. This season, I think, is kind of make or break for the roster, because they've been together for a while. I think they can hit a stride and do some pretty good things, but top 8 potential without a doubt. Next is Fadeaway. Fadeaway is totally different from what you remember. It used to be Freaky Tigre and Yukio. Freaky went to BS Plus. Yukio went to SK Gaming. So Tigre is like, what do I do? And he brings in Louis Pete and Dead Monster with Simon. Former German amigos now all together because of the whole Twitter nonsense stupidity that went down. Either way, Fadeaway potential, still some concerns. Right now I have them in kind of like the C tier area, even though I do really like Louis P and Dead Monster. I think they'll put up a fight against these teams, because again, this tier list is like these guys most of the time I think will beat. Actually, let's do this. I'm gonna put you up there, Dig, because I really like you. I'm gonna move you guys up. We'll do that for now, just to create some more separation. The way I'm gonna do the list is 9 out of 10 times I think these teams will be these teams will be these teams, and by all means I think in Rocket League comes down to how you play on the day, and there's potential for like these teams, but like even on a bad day I would expect these teams to beat these teams. I would expect these teams to beat these teams, is kind of the way I'm looking at it. Like if you're 2 tiers apart, you should be heavy favorites if you're in the higher tier. I guess that's the way I'll bring it down. So Fadeaway to me is that team that I think they have potential to beat some of those middle of the pack teams that can get top 8 every once in a while, but 9 out of 10 times they're probably going to lose to the ones up top. So if they have to run into high seeds, they're going to have to play some big upsets, kind of like how V1 was last season, where they're playing like Space Station and Envy and Energy every single first round in G2. If you don't beat those guys, you aren't going to get a better seed to give yourself a chance to get into that top 8 convincingly. So seeding is really important this week. Up next, we've got Monkeys. I actually really like this team, but I don't know what I'm going to get. I think there's too much potential on them. I think Arju and Matane are both really good, and Matane has potential to really hard carry a game when he's playing well. I think the loss of Ixo is a pretty big loss, because Ixo is really, really good. But I will say that looking at this squad, and I don't know how I didn't even mention Ixo with SK Gaming. He's so good. But they brought in Cash, who I like. They tried out Bluey for a little bit. I didn't think it was a good fit. But Cash, I do think, is underrated and pretty solid. So I think they'll be in fights. I was really upset because when they were Galaxy Racer, they fell out of RLCS. And they were so close to making top 6 potential. And then with the loss of Ixo, the team completely kind of botched it, which really sucked. But now that they're no longer Galaxy Racer, now that they're kind of fighting for themselves, maybe that's some motivation that they need to go and try to get signed again. I think Cash is a pretty good fit for them. Do I think they are going to be able to show top 8, top 4 potential every single week? Probably not. I think their consistency has always been the concern, but I do think they can get there every once in a while. So, again, these are no in particular order, but I do think they fall in line. Up next is Semper. The comeback is Shawzette. Shawzette leaving Solary, going over and joining Archie and Cassio. I think Cassio is super underrated as well. And Shawzette did show some really exciting things. If you look at their results in the We Play Invitational, they played some really tough rosters, being honest. But their loss originally came to K-Corp, who won the whole thing, and all their games were stupid close except for the last 2, where K-Corp decided to just show what offense was. And then when they dropped to the lowers, they play a really hot Dignitas, who also was 1 game away. So I don't think people have seen how good Semper can be. I think they're like a low A, high B plus. I think the potential is 1000% there. I think people are finally going to see what Shawzak can do. My only concern is if they go up against stupid, fast, consistent, high-flying teams like K-Corp, like Dignitas, they may struggle. I don't know if they're going to be able to hang. I think positionally, I think the ability to clean rotate, put good passes and shots on target is going to be there without a doubt. The only concern is if they go against the really heavy hitters, they may get trounced. I'm a little nervous. I think it kind of reminds me of V1, honestly, in the way that V1 plays, where they may have to play really defensive and then hope for those 1-goal games. We'll see if it ends up happening, but that's where I've got them for now. Last, but certainly not least, we've got the Flying Dutchman. This is Violent Panda and Verge's new setup. They're bringing Though in from the guild roster and Oli, which I think people need to understand how good Oli actually is from Wolves. These are words from Violent Panda, and I've actually seen it as well in some of their play. Oli has a lot of astral tendencies. Not only does he have the high-flying mechanics and potential, but the thing I like most about him, and this is something me and Violent Panda talked about on stream before, is his mentality to pass instead of shoot every time. And it's actually what makes Astral so good as a player, is although he has the potential to go and do his own thing and score a lot, he still has the know-how to when he goes up for that big solo play, he chooses to pass most times out of not. It was something that I used to hold against Justin way back, but Justin has also developed into that. And I think Oli also has that potential. Violent Panda I still think will be a great facilitator, great in the midfield. And then you have Though and Oli kind of locking it down and doing their thing. One of them can easily rotate on defense, but I think this team has a ton of potential. I will say I haven't seen enough of them for me to be happy. And the results have been varying. But right now I have them at high B. I think the potential for this team is to possibly bump into A, but as of right now, I do have some concerns, and that's only because they haven't really been answered in the matches that we've seen so far. So teams that I have in S tier, these are teams that you should see almost always in conversation for top 8 and possibly making almost shoe-ins for your quarterfinals into semifinals. BDS, K-Corp, Vitality, and Dignitas. Your A is your teams that are going to be most likely the other 4 teams that we should see notably filling out our top 8 quarterfinal stuff. But you may see the teams in B being the teams that are going to contest them. So you may see like all 4 of these, like 2 of these and maybe 2 of these, or 3 of these and 1 of these. It just depends on how things go during the day. C, I think, will be teams that kind of get bullied by the teams at the top and may swap spots and be in a qualifying position possibly where they're playing a team for a spot to go in there and may do it once in a while, but will probably fall short. And then the teams that I have in F are ones that either I don't know about or just need to see more of. Results wise, there is some concerns about them, and that's why I can't be like, oh, I'm pretty confident with where they're going to go. And some I just don't want to BS you guys on. I just haven't seen enough of, like even Team Liquid. I know the players, I know there's talent there, but I haven't seen them on the field. Does the situation they're trying to put together work out? Or is some of the comments that some of the other pros have made actually spot on? So it will be interesting to see on how these play out. But this is my tier list going into Europe for Regional 1, and I am hoping we see some pleasant surprises. That is going to do it for my tier list for Europe going into Regional 1. I'm probably going to do these once before every single regional to show the adjustments of how things have gone over the past split. But if you guys have your own opinions and your own tier lists of where you think people should go, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. At the end of the day, this is a subjective list, and I am always excited to be proven wrong. It happened with Shopify Rebellion, and it's been a fantastic ride ever since. So with that said, hope you guys enjoy the content. If you do, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't forget, RLCS this weekend. Make sure you tune in. We got NA main event and EU qualifiers going on at the same time. A lot of Rocket League finally back in swing. We'll see you next time. Peace.